Hello and welcome to Wargaming Recon. I am your host, Jonathan J. Reinhardt. Wargaming Recon is the only member of the Troll in the Corner podcast network to discuss historical and New England gaming. This is one of our best of episodes for 2015's podcast season, and I am delighted to announce that I have chosen for this one an episode that I think was both a lot of fun to record, really interesting for all of you to listen to, and had guests that were just amazing. I am, of course, referring to the Ancient History Magazine Kickstarter episode. That's episode 131. So you can get to the show notes for this recasted version by going to wargamingrecon.com/WR131 recast, all one word. That's wargamingrecon.com/WR131 RECAST. That's recast. And that'll have what's in this episode. If this is your first time listening to a recasted episode or a best of episode for Wargaming Recon, just let me briefly explain it. I know that maybe there are some newer listeners to the show who are like, recast? What the heck is that? Is this just like a clip show? And maybe some longtime listeners thinking, well, it's been a while. Could you refresh my memory on it? So what I like to do is, for the end of the year, I take some time off from recording new episodes with new content for you. And rather than just leaving you with nothing to listen to between like middle of December to middle of January, I do what I call recast episodes. And these are episodes that are best of sort of things. If you were listening to the radio, I pick an episode, and it's something that was released during this recording year, and one that I think was really good for certain reasons. And then I send it out to you again. I do a little more work with the editing and that kind of stuff to make it sound even a little bit better. And then at the start of the episode, I do kind of cool or extra footage or behind the scenes information, something extra to it. So you're actually kind of getting like an episode and a half when you get a recast episode, because you're getting the full original episode, and then you're getting about a half episode's worth of new content. And I do this so that, like I said, you can get new stuff to listen to while I'm taking a little breather, recharging my batteries, getting ideas, and of course celebrating my birthday, which is December 22nd, and then the birth of Jesus, which we celebrate here in the US on Christmas, December the 25th, and then the New Year's and all that kind of stuff. And I know not everyone's religious, and I understand that, and not everyone celebrates Christmas. These are just the reasons why I take this time off, because I am religious. I'm Catholic, and I like to celebrate my birthday, and I love winter in this entire season of the year. So I try to take this time for me and for my family to kind of both get away from it, but I'm still working on things. It's easier because I'm not creating the new content. I use it to kind of schedule guests for the new year, come up with ideas for the next season, and work on cool new changes and things. So Ancient History Magazine, talked a lot about it in episode 131. And even since then, I've covered it on the show a little bit here and there. And if you're unfamiliar with it, you're going to hear more about it when we get the full original episode, which will come right after this introduction. But I want to just say a few things about it. So I've talked about in the past some Kickstarters and things to look for if you want to back a Kickstarter, and some danger signs. And there's been a lot in the news in general, both on the internet and here in the US in regular traditional media, about dangers of Kickstarters and about all these different Kickstarter projects that get done, and then people give them all this money to the creators and nothing happens. Or you hear stories about creators who are basically scam artists, and how they're able to get through Kickstarter is beyond me. Kickstarter needs more stringent controls or something. I don't know. Maybe a topic for another episode. But basically, they're stealing people's money. So it's so refreshing when I can tell you that there's a project that I of course know is going to be good, and it meets my criteria for me to put my money where my mouth is before I even tell you about it. But then for it to come to successful completion. Ancient History Magazine is one of those. If you're watching this live, and some of you might be, you're going to see some extra cool stuff. Or even if you're not, it'll be in the YouTube video. I'll have a link in the show notes for that. I know this is an audio podcast, so you're listening to it probably while you're at work, or maybe you're commuting to or from somewhere, or you're at the gym or painting. But we do this live, and so you can see the live video on our YouTube channel. That's wargamingrecon.com/YouTube. But I'll have a link to this specific video in the show notes so you can see, because we got Ancient History Magazine. And this is really cool because I was one of the first backers of it. And as such, I got a signed copy. So it's signed by everyone involved. It's signed by the co-editors. So we have great, just beautiful little signatures here from, well, everyone really. Josho, Yona, both of them are the co-editors, and then Jasper as managing editor publications for Karansawa Publishers is here too. So that's really cool. And it's everything I would have expected. And that, I just realized, I was like, wait, maybe that's ambivalent. This is good. This is really good. I know there's a lot of us who are into all of this because we like the war part of the gaming. We like to get involved with all of it and recreate the different battles and everything on the tabletop. And Ancient History Magazine does not cover warfare. Karansawa Publishers has Ancient Warfare, which covers ancient warfare. But this is invaluable because it covers everything else. It tells us about the people and the societies who were engaged in that warfare that we're playing on the tabletop. So you can get just fantastic articles in here. The production value is the same as all of the other publications that they put out: Medieval Warfare, Ancient Warfare, WSNS. So you know that's quality. The printing's amazing. Layout, of course, is good. And I'm just showing a title page here with the table of contents for people, so you can see all the cool kind of stuff that's going on here. And I'm going to just get you a nice view of this, so that way you're able to see what's going on here. And this is, I mean, it is honestly just a great, great production here. And, you know, you can't go wrong with it because, as I said, the content and everything is as I would have hoped. And you get a nice view here of the table of contents. And then at the bottom, they have in a special section about our Kickstarter backers. And if you had backed, sorry for the extreme zoom, if you had backed at a certain level, you would have then received your name in print in here. So I'm just going to mention and briefly read what they say here. So they say, Kickstarter backers, museums, and more. A thank you to our patrons. The issue you hold in your hands is a result of a very successful Kickstarter campaign. In total, we raised over 20,000 euros. That's roughly $20,000, give or take, or like €1.50, I think, to the dollar nowadays, to fund the production of this extra long first issue. We greatly appreciate the help of all our backers, but those who made a particularly generous contribution are listed below. So they list, there's, what is that? A dozen people who gave £200 or more, and 24 plus people who gave £100 to £199. And then they thank a few museums, the Allard Pearson Museum and the Rijksmuseum and the Griffith Institute. This magazine got extra pages for the first issue because of the Kickstarter. It comes in at 82 pages, and of course it has ads and stuff, but everything is just, it's fantastic. They talk about bottles and alabaster jars, and you get great artwork in here. So as you can tell, this is, it's amazing. And part of it was fun because being able to be part of this project, and hopefully you backed it, but if you didn't, you can get subscriptions to it. You get it from their website. We have an affiliate link to it. I'll put in the show notes. And if you use our affiliate link, they're actually very generous with their affiliate program. It doesn't cost you anything extra. You get your stuff at the same great prices that you would normally, and then they just send us a little bit of money, thanking us for sending some traffic their way. But then I backed it at a special level where I got a book with it, and I chose The Edge of the Empire book by Jona Lendering and Arjen Bosman. Talks about Rome's frontier on the Lower Rhine. And this got a lot of great reviews. I know people who already have it, who've read it. It was shipped separately, and I wasn't actually expecting that. For some reason, and I should have known better, but for some reason I was thinking this was going to come with the magazine. So when the magazine came, I was like, okay, cool, the magazine's here. It's really light. What's this about? And why isn't the book in it? And then, of course, thankfully, Jasper had put an update on Kickstarter saying, oh, by the way, our other stuff's coming separately and everything. But this is just a very well-researched book. It has fantastic maps in it. It has illustrations and other content. As you know, I've been talking a lot over this year, and the past couple of years, actually, about Hail Caesar. I don't actually have anything on the table. We'll get to that at another time. But I have an interest in the Imperial Romans, in the Roman world as the ancient Romans knew it. So this is something that really struck out at me, that, oh, maybe this would be good. But whatever level you backed at, you got good things. And if nothing else, you get in the magazine. And if you didn't back the Kickstarter, well, one, I'm sorry you missed out. But two, it's not too late. Like I said, you can get a subscription. You can buy issues. And I'll have a link in the show notes so that you can get that. The communication, everything was top notch, and that's to be expected. Current Sideways Publishers is an amazing and very well thought out company that puts a lot of effort and time into their productions and publications. When I say their name, I think of quality, and I hope you do too. So this is just, it was really good, and I wanted to share this with you as part of the, for this episode. And like I said near the beginning of the episode, it's not often in this day and age, and it's sad to say this, but it's not often that you hear in the news about Kickstarter projects being successful and delivering the goods that they promised. This is one that did it, and before I had mentioned it on the show, I walked through those steps that I highlighted in a previous episode where I made sure that it would be something that would make sense for me to share with you, but also something that would make sense for me to even invest in myself. And so I wanted to make sure that that it would work, because I knew that Current Sideways Publishers would deliver, and I knew that this would be a good product. But even if I wasn't familiar with them, I was able to go through the Kickstarter project and refer back to my tips, and then use that information to help me decide, does this make sense? Should I do it? Should I not back it? And I like to think that, I'm not recommending anything on the show that, one, I don't believe in, and two, that wouldn't be good for you. If I talk about it, I stand behind it. It's not my product. I'm not getting money or anything out of the stuff I talk about. Just like you, I get them, the way that you would. And if I don't, if it's like a review copy or gifted copy, I talk about it. I didn't get any of that with this. I didn't get special whatever with the stuff, no special treatment or anything. It was all the usual, but it met all my tips. And just to go over it, I mean, I covered this back in 2014. It was episode 118. I'll try to have a link in the show notes, but I give 5 guidelines for backing a Kickstarter project. Again, not a lawyer, but I say, 1, you should have a clear idea of your expectation. You need to determine if the project matches what the project creator is doing. You have to, number 2, communicate with the project creator before you back it. That's the best way to ask questions, because you don't want to pledge money and back it and then ask your questions and be like, oh, wait, this isn't what I was thinking. Number 3, you only should pledge the amount of money when you know the project creator, their work, or a respectable person you trust vouches for the creator and the project. Obviously, you can't personally know everyone in Kickstarter, but people get a reputation, right? So you can learn from their other reputation. Have they done other Kickstarters? Have they been successful? Have they delivered? Have they delivered on time? Have they given great value for what the backers have given? Have friends of yours backed projects by these people? Do people you trust in the industry talk about it? I hope that you trust and value what I say. And if you do, and I'm saying this is great, you should do it, and then I hope you take that into consideration, or whomever you do, whatever talking heads, so to speak, are saying things about the Kickstarter projects, that if you feel that they're valuable and respectable, you take the information into hand. Number 4, that you closely examine the Kickstarter project. Does the project seem too good to be true? Is it unreasonable? Is it impossible? And then number 5, just like for those who gamble or any disposable income really, don't pledge more money than you can afford to lose if things go sour. Just like you shouldn't buy models or toys that you don't have the money for. If you're like, I'm going to buy these cool new models somewhere, but that means I can't afford to pay my utility bills. I can't afford to pay my mortgage. I can't afford to eat. Then you shouldn't be buying the stuff. If you can't afford to pledge the money on the Kickstarter project in case it goes sour, then don't do it, because Kickstarter, even in the best of situations, things come up, things happen. What if it got delayed and you were backing for a project because you were hoping to get it for a gift for Christmas or for Hanukkah or something, and they say they're going to deliver in time, but you don't know, and you're counting on it. Don't do it if that's your only option, and if things seem shaky. So clearly, by going through all 5 of these steps, the Ancient History Magazine Kickstarter project met every single one of them, and then some. And of course, I'm in a slightly different situation because I heard about it from Jasper and the folks at Carmansari Publishers, and I respect them and know the kind of work that they do because I have subscribed to WSNS. I've gotten issues of Ancient Warfare and Medieval Warfare magazine, picked them up on the newsstand. I've talked with them before. I've seen stuff that they've done, and I've come to know them and have this great professional relationship with them because of Wargaming Recon and everything. But all that helped me to create my worldview and to say, this is a project, one, that I need to talk about and share with all of you who listen to the show. But also, I want to back it. I'm excited for this. You may not know, but when I got my undergrad degree, I have a BA in politics and history. I got a BA in politics and history. And so I got my degree in, politics, of course, but in history, in not ancient history or whatever. My focus was more colonial Northeastern American history, but history. And so this kind of stuff excites me. And knowing that they're talking about other things that are not just warfare related, not just military related. My minor, where I went to school didn't offer dual minors. But if they did, I would have had a minor in philosophy and in religion instead of just the minor in philosophy. This magazine covers that. There will be articles that will talk about ancient religions, ancient philosophies, and how it impacted the societies and the peoples. That plays into motivations for the military conquests, for who they are and how it shaped them. And that, I feel, translates onto the tabletop. And that's why, although Ancient History magazine seems like maybe not a perfect fit for war gamers, I think you need to take what you have on the table and then expand on it. A lot of historical war gamers do research. They learn about everything, not just the campaigns, but the motivations and everything. And this is great research material. So I hope that you will enjoy listening to the ReCasted part of the show where I have that interview with Jasper and with Josho, and they talk about the Kickstarter project and what's going to happen with the magazine. And it was a lot of fun recording with them. I really do hope you will enjoy that, and I think you're going to find it informative. If you've heard it before, I think it's worth a listen again. I really do. And if you haven't heard it, you're in for a special treat. So it is one of my best of episodes for this 2015 podcast season. I'm getting a little tongue twisted here in excitement. But before you listen to that, I do just want to mention that if you are already a Patreon backer, first of all, I want to thank you. So I do want to thank my wonderful backers. I have Dave and the crew of Wargames at Battleshades, the Facebook group, huge supporters of the show, and I am supremely appreciative of all that you do, Dave, and the entire Battleshades group does. I also want to thank Jamie, who is at Drake Poledragon on Twitter. Jamie is another amazing backer and listener, and Jamie just had his birthday actually the day before I am recording this, so I want to wish a very happy birthday to you, Jamie. I am also a December baby, so I know what it's like to have a birthday so close to Christmas, and I just want to say I hope you have all the wonderful things in your life that you so deserve. It's really cool because when you back me on Patreon, one of the levels you can choose is a level where I thank you by name on the show. So I think it's a cool kind of thing that can be done. And not everyone has to do that level. It's not the cheapest level, but it's pretty cheap or pretty affordable, I should say. It's a more entry level than some of the higher ones. And these two gentlemen have been backers of at least that level for quite a while. And I want to welcome a brand new backer, Patrick. I want to thank you for your kind and generous support here for me through Patreon. But you've been a huge support all along. You've helped to encourage me and feedback. And I love getting to hang out with you and see you when at conventions and everything. So it's a blast. And I'm appreciative. It's that time of year, and even if it wasn't, I'd be appreciative anyway. So thank you, Patrick, for your very kind support. Now, if you're not a Patreon backer, or if you're not a backer at that level, I want to announce some information for everyone. There's some changes coming to our Patreon campaign. So beginning January 1, 2016, I'm changing things over, and I've talked a little bit about it in previous episodes, and there's going to be an actual whole video devoted to it, a video, right? And it's going to be up on the Patreon campaign page for Wargaming Recon. That's wargamingrecon.com/Patreon. We'll have it on our YouTube channel, and we'll also have it on our Facebook page, and I might put it up on the blog itself, wargamingrecon.com. But that video will go into exact detail on how things are going to work. For this podcast episode, I just want to say, one, there's going to be a change. Currently, backers are billed on a per episode basis. So every episode I release, the backers get charged for whatever they've chosen to contribute. So if they've chosen to contribute $3 an episode, every episode they pay $3. Moving forward, as of January 1, 2016, it'll be a monthly system. Now, this should do a few things. First of all, I really want to make things as transparent as possible. So with the per episode basis, it's cool because you're only paying for what I put out. If I put out 20 episodes in a month, you're paying for all 20. And if I put out one episode, you're only paying for the one. But with the monthly setup, that if you're backing at whatever that level is, let's say you're backing at $5 per month, that every month you're going to pay $5. So you can just put that into your budget. It's easy to do. You don't have to worry about it. Also, that I want to give more than I get. That's one of the things I try to do. I figured out what the average number of episodes is that I release per month and what that comes out to per year. And then I took that into account when adjusting the dollar amounts that go with each backer level. So some backer levels are going to go up a little bit because I'm trying to equate it so that you're paying roughly the same as what you would be if it was on a per episode basis. And some aren't going up that much, or some might even have decreased. And the reason for this is some of the higher levels, especially where there's like a physical reward that I'm sending you, with the per episode setup, I wasn't able to, tweak it really. Like, say if it cost me $20 to get a thing to you, and so I had to put it at $25. No one's paying $25 an episode. And even if you were, that's ridiculous, right? So I don't need to make it $50 an episode or $40 a month rather for you to get that. I can say, well, it cost me 20 and this is what it is. And then I adjust it. So that might not have any change, or you get the point. But anyway, that's taking place January 1, 2016. And there's going to be a brand new backer level with a brand new reward attached to it. Now, I'm not announcing that in this podcast episode. However, if you watch the video, it will be revealed in there. Otherwise, if you don't want to watch the video, that's cool. The next podcast episode, which will be next ReCast episode, and that comes out, what is that, January 6th, I think it is? Sorry, January 4th, 2016. That podcast episode, I will announce or reveal, I guess, what the new backer level and new backer reward is. So I'll do that at that time. But if you don't want to wait for that January episode, just watch the video. There'll be a link in the show notes to this. And like I said, it'll be on the YouTube page. It'll be on Facebook and so forth. So you'll be able to get all of that. Well, I think that covers everything. So once again, thank you to my Patreon backers. Thank you to the incredible people at the Maine Historical Wargamers Association, they helped to sponsor the show. They put on a fantastic historical gaming convention. Huzzah! I know you hear the pre-recorded sponsor message in episodes, but I'm so grateful for all of the support from them, and I'm looking forward to going to Huzzah, which will be May 13th through the 16th, 2016, and bringing my wife and the baby, and just it's going to be so much fun. So thank you to them, and I just want to wish everyone a very, very Merry Christmas. This is the last podcast episode to come out in 2015. And then, like I said, that other best of episode will be January 4th, 2016. So until then, you'll be able to stay in touch with me on social media, on Twitter, on Facebook, and all that kind of good stuff. And just thank you for taking the time to listen to this episode. I hope you enjoy the rest of the recasted part of it. And that, well, you know the drill, right? No matter how busy you are in your life, no matter how much shopping you got to do for the holidays, you always know that you need to keep on gaming.